Another local lad, Mike Marsh. Won the tackle well. Rush. Saunders to his left. Still Rush. Saunders! That's Liverpool's first goal back in Europe. And it's been scored by the most expensive player in the English game. Dean Saunders, £2.9 million, marks the return with a goal after 11 minutes. Struck it well with his right foot, although the keeper, Rovio, didn't seem to make too good a job of that, but Liverpool are in front.
A lot of credit to Mike Marsh, who won the initial tackles, played it to Ian Rush there, rode one tackle, got half blocked, sort of struck it well, but Eusebio trying to get one hand to it, but the power too strong for him, and a good, typical instinctive finish by Dean Saunders.
As you say, 3 moments when Lahti could have equalised. Here's Burrows. Nickel in again. Oh, it's a good header by Houghton. It's a goal. Ray Houghton makes it 2-0 in the 33rd minute. And that was simple build-up. Steve Nicol, the captain, floating the ball in. Ray Houghton lost a marker, nodded it over the goalkeeper, who was about 4 yards off his line, and it's 2-0 to Liverpool. And what about this one, Trevor?
Well, Ray Houghton to be very pleased with that one. He was sort of about as regular as goal scorer with his head as I was, and so to get that one, twisting with his neck, to get the power and floating over the goalkeeper, he'll be delighted with. I should think he'll take a bit of stick with his teammates, because, as I say, he's not very often on the score sheet with his head.
Well, I almost said you weren't very often, Trevor, but I didn't mean that unkind. Do you remember, I think, when we were doing the Merseyside derby at Goodison once, and Houghton scored with a header, and we actually thought it possibly was the first time he'd headed a goal in his senior career. I think he actually told us that.
Well, I'm not sure if this is the second, but it was a very good hook, because it was just behind him. Good through ball by Steve Nicol, but the goalkeeper half coming for the through ball, and in the end called in no man's land, but you couldn't really blame him. It was an extremely good header.
So 2-0 then to Liverpool. Here's McManaman, but it hasn't been all one way. It might be now. This is Sastamoinen and Rin. And Belfield gets the other side of Ablett and sets up Lettinen again, and that's got in off Nicky Tanner, I think. Lahti have scored. Lettinen celebrates. I think it caught Tanner, and it's 2-1. And at the Kop end, Kuusysi score a goal that perhaps they shouldn't have ever expected before tonight, but it was set up well by Belfield, and yes, it definitely goes in off Tanner. It was the deflection that deceived Hooper and left him with no chance, actually. And Lettinen, who missed the 2 earlier chances, suddenly sees his luck change. It went completely the other way because of the deflection. And that, of course, Trevor, is an away goal, isn't it?
Well, it is important. I mean, I still think, you know, significantly over the 2 legs Liverpool will get through, but we've said that they have been a little bit lax. 3 good opportunities before that. On that occasion, Gary Ablett was going to let the ball run through.
It's been a stuttering Liverpool performance from the time the Finns got a goal back. McMahon. Burrows. Now McManaman in space. Saunders! And a huge wave of relief goes round Anfield, because it's taken Liverpool 78 minutes to go 3-1 up. And here McManaman does get in the telling cross. That's what's been lacking. Saunders meets it, and in it goes. I think probably from this we'll get a better idea of what happened in there, because as Saunders goes in with the header, the keeper just can't get across to it. Point-blank range, really, Trevor.
Well, I think 2 things there. Steve McManaman, I'm sure, will learn a lesson there. The good early cross. Dean Saunders coming in just behind his marker, Sastamoinen.
McManaman. Houghton. Saunders! And he scored a hat-trick on his European debut at club level. And in passing his first hat-trick for Liverpool after that massive transfer. 4 minutes from the end, Trevor, and number 3 for Saunders, number 4 for Liverpool.
Again, showing that when a striker tries to get away from his mark and gets that yard or two of space, if the cross comes in early as it did on that occasion, there he is in front of his marker, the faintest of touches. He's very good for a small player. He does jump well, and the timely glancing heading, reminiscent of the old Spurs days. Alan Gilzean, who was probably the best flicked header that I've seen, but that was a fine finish and a hat-trick, as you say. I'm sure he'd enjoy this evening, Dean Saunders.
And Houghton puts the ball through. It nearly ran for Rush, and in these last few minutes the match and the tie takes on a different complexion. 2 goals in 8 minutes has made it from a very uneasy 2-1 into a more realistic, from the Liverpool point of view, 4-1. And Saunders has made the difference. McManaman to Walters. McManaman again. And he's in. Walters is there. Saunders! Oh, another one! It's all coming right now. 5-1 to Liverpool and 4 for Dean Saunders. Goalkeeper couldn't hold it, and he fired that one in joyfully.
Great skill again by McManaman. Walters got the toe ender. Ian Rush possibly offside on that first shot, but as it comes back out to Dean Saunders, 5-1.
And we have a moment of history, I think, Trevor, because I'm pretty certain that in their long European history, Liverpool have never had a player scoring 4 in a game. Certainly no more than 4. Anyway, Ian Rush's best, I think, is 3. So Dean Saunders there has probably written himself into the Liverpool record books. Houghton. Saunders to his left, still hungry. Walters. Still Walters. Houghton's in there. And Liverpool score again. Ray Houghton gets his second. And how appropriate that the score is now 6-1. The cross by Walters. Houghton scores a header for the second time in the game. That's something of a collector's item. But on the night that European football returns to Anfield, the score at the moment is as it was the very first time a European match was played here. 6-1 to Liverpool, and that is how it finishes. 2 for Houghton, 6 for Liverpool, and the other 4